All right, we'll go ahead and begin this afternoon with head coach Brian Kelly. Coach, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, obviously, great challenge this week with Boston College. Coach Hafley's done a great job, and you can tell watching this team, they play hard, very gritty, tough team. Well coached. It's going to be a great challenge for us. I know in talking to Coach Sweeney after, actually in pregame, he even commented about the way this team played them for 4 quarters, and that they're going to be a great challenge. So, getting our team prepared this week, apply our process the way we have, will be very, very important. And then competing at a high level on the road. They've done a really good job of balancing out their offense, run the pass last few weeks. Defensively, again, very good scheme, very sound, very fundamental, tackle well. And again, gotten off to a nice start this season and are playing good football. They're 5-3 and looking to obviously, get a great victory against us. So we'll have to be prepared.
Our first question will be from John Finneran.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, John.
Just wanted to ask you what are any concerns about injuries coming this week, and are you concerned about the way the game ended with the fans coming onto the field, that might uptake the COVID numbers? And I guess that's it. I guess that's a good start today.
Okay. Injuries? No, none that we believe will hold anybody out from playing this weekend against Boston College. We certainly was a physical game. We've got some guys that have some bumps and bruises and some healing that will have to take place. But nothing that we feel that will keep anybody out from action this weekend. As it relates to the COVID, we tested yesterday. We should have all of our testing numbers in here within the next hour, so I'll have a better feel for that. My concerns are not great in terms of the post-game students on the field. Those students were tested during the week, and our players were aware that they needed to get off the field in a timely fashion. So we don't believe that that's going to be a situation that is going to affect our football team. But we'll have plans in place in case it becomes an issue.
We'll go next to Tim Priester.
Right. First of all, could you comment on Kyron Williams and his performance as a pass blocker? And then secondly, after a couple games, you said you needed to focus on getting your wide receivers more involved. They certainly have done that in the last 5 games. What did you focus on with them and with Ian Book to create an uptick with your wideouts?
Yeah, the focus was for our backs to be more active in protections. Clemson ran a lot of twist games and stunt games that knocks off your offensive linemen. So even though we were in a 6-man protection, the back didn't get out a lot, and it limited us a little bit in some of our check down opportunities. We gave up some potential check down opportunities that Ian, could have had that we did not have because we left the back end to pick up some of those games that inevitably knock off a lineman because they're so aggressive in picking off linemen in their twist stunts. So we felt that we needed to give something up, and that was the back not getting out. Excuse me. In terms of getting that production to be seen more in the games, you can talk about it all you want, but you got to actually lean on it during the week in practice. So added more practice time to our skelly periods, committed more time for work with our wide receivers and our quarterbacks. And so I think that helped us quite a bit. And then just knowing that if we were going to take that next step, the ball needed to be pushed out there. Plays needed to be called. And so, Tommy and I being on the same page, we felt the same way. And ultimately, you got to call those plays.
We'll go next to Pete Byrne.
Hi, Brian. You've been pretty consistent the last few weeks saying that you'd been trying to get your team to raise their level of play again and again in order to get them to meet the challenge that you were able to last Saturday. So my question now is, how do you again try and get them to one more time raise their level of play in the hopes of building off what you've done this past week?
Well, I think the first thing is the constant application of our process. So stay consistent with what we've been doing. And so that constant application of our process has been something that we've done now for, close to 4 years. So continue on that front, which is, it's not replaced by anything but smart work, working with a purpose and having good practice habits and certainly productive practices. It's one thing to go out there and run around, but not having productive practices is certainly the end game here. So the constant application of our process starts with the ability to understand how important each day is in our preparation, and in the weight room today, the ability to be in the training room yesterday to get guys back, and then we've got a lot of work to clean up. We got to be a better football team, and there's a number of areas that have to get cleaned up, technically and tactically in all three phases.
We'll go next to Lou Emoji.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon.
Early in the game, there were a couple of setbacks for Michael Mayer that didn't really see many times in those situations. Even a veteran, never mind a freshman, can maybe go into the tank and be taken out a little bit. And he responded like a champion later on in the game and everything. We've seen the physical ability. What about the mental aspect of his game that, has made him so effective? He played 67 snaps against the number one team and got better as the game got on. What have you seen in him that has made him such a linchpin now in your attack?
Yeah, I think it's a great observation, Lou. I mean, I think, for players in their freshman year to continue to ascend, there has to be a mental performance component that is different than most freshmen, and he has that. Case in point is that when he came over after the red zone situation that he was in, he handled himself incredibly well. He didn't throw a helmet, didn't throw a tantrum. Just started breathing, talking to himself in a manner that I'm going to make that play next time. When I'm given that opportunity again, he just handles himself like somebody that has been in our program for more than 1 year. It's very unique. He's had very little mental performance training. The little bit of mental performance training he has had, he has taken to it and built upon it, and that's why he's had the kind of success he's had.
We'll go next to Dennis Dodd.
Brian, I wonder if you'd compare this team to the ones in 2012 and 2018, not in terms of playoff or playoff viability, but just, team makeup, team speed, physicality. Obviously, Ian was same quarterback back in 18.
Physically stronger, faster, just across the board defensively. We had individual players in 12 that were certainly as good as any player on this team. But, overall on all three levels, it's a more physical, faster football team across the board. From an offensive standpoint, the physicality on the offensive line, coupled with size on the outside that can win one-on-one matchups. We really didn't have, T.J. Jones was an outstanding player. Daniels was coming into his own. And then we had a veteran quarterback, and Ian Book. Everett was a young quarterback. So there were some really good pieces about that team. But this team, obviously has a lot more experience, depth, athleticism, and speed. So in many areas, quite different from 12.
We'll go next to Eric Hansen.
Brian, what's maybe both the emotional and the pragmatic part of facing somebody like Phil Jurkovec? And what I mean by pragmatic is terminology, his knowledge of the playbook and that kind of stuff. The second part of that was Ian and Phil seem to be so close and supportive of each other. Do you know what their relationship is like now?
I'm not sure what you're asking in your first question in terms of, I don't know what his knowledge is of Boston College's playbook. He's a first-year starter. Was that the question? I wasn't really sure.
No. Of Notre Dame's playbook, of Notre Dame's, the way they do things.
Got it. When he was here, he was, fairly bright in terms of understanding what we were doing. There were times where we were trying to get him to get the ball out of his hands a little faster, but the normal, I would say, progress that most young players were making in the program, he was making. I think that was normal. Look, the quarterback meeting room is a very supportive one, and I know Phil and Ian were supportive of each other. I don't know what their relationship was off the field. I don't know that they ran in the same crowd, but quarterbacks are going to be very supportive of each other.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Brian, when you look at the third down defense on Saturday and kind of across the season as a whole, how much do you look at the success there as just having the right calls and the right focus and a nickel group you feel confident about on third down versus the ability you guys seem to have to put teams in a hole in first down and create third and longs that are hard to convert?
You make it sound so simple. Yeah, we just dial it up. There's a lot to that, obviously. I mean, I think, tendencies, personnel groupings, there's a lot of work. I mean, if I could tell you how much time that we spend on third down, you'd be amazed. First and second down, those meetings go pretty fast. Third down goes for a couple of days. So there's a lot of intense study. There's a lot of intense situational substitution. You're looking at matchups. You're looking at how you can put yourself and leverage yourself defensively for the best situation. So we could be here a long time. Here's what I would tell you. At the end of the day, you're trying to keep the offense in longer third down situations for the most part. When they have that, third and short, they're going to the national average is jumping up there into the 75 percentile. I don't care how many days you spend on third and short, you're coming out on the short end. You need to be, 5+, 6+, and we've done really well in those areas in keeping it in third and long. And once you get to third and long, now it's the numbers start to tilt towards you, and that's where we've been really effective.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Coach, I wanted to get your thoughts on Shane Simon's effort and along with Drew White, and what did you and Coach Lee see in Simon that kind of allowed him to win the role and keep it into this breakout performance?
Yeah, he's still emerging. He's not there yet. Maris, didn't play much. He had the targeting, so that opened the door for Shane. We're really pleased with his his progression. I mean, he's progressing. Shane is progressing. There's still some things out there that we need him to work on. Shedding blocks, getting off blocks, a couple of instinctual things that I think he can get better at. But he is attacking the line of scrimmage. He is finishing off tackles. He's got really good awareness in space in the pass game. We're really seeing somebody that is elevating his game. There's still more out there for him. I wouldn't say that this thing is, hey, this is a done deal. Shane Simon, he's got the position. There's still some competition out there, and we like it. We like to keep the competition lively out there. But really pleased with where he's going, and he's got some room to continue to grow, which is a great thing.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Brian, first question about Jurkovec. Like when you watch him on tape, how is he different from the quarterback that you last saw in South Bend? Where has his game progressed the most? And then with your secondary at the field corner with Bracey and Clarence Lewis, how did that play out on Saturday night? And does that have any sort of implications moving forward?
Yeah, Phil's in a different type of offense than the one we were asking him to be part of last year. So it's hard. We're not comparing it. Remember, in high school, he was in a spread offense, truly a spread offense, catch and throw. He was in an RPO offense last year. He is in a play action, 6-man, 7-man protection offense this year. So it's really hard to compare, where he is compared to where he was last year, because they are so dissimilar from an offensive perspective. What he's doing this year on film is he's making plays outside the realm of the offense, which he was very accustomed to doing in high school and when he was here as well. Outside the pocket, he's a great scrambler. He can throw on the run. He's got a strong arm. Great size, and he's a tough kid. But I would say that, the offenses are so dissimilar, it's hard to really compare where that progression is. But the one constant is he can make plays outside the pocket. That battle is constant, that cornerback position. Clark and Mike felt like that Clarence was the best call for us. We're going to do what we think is best for Notre Dame's defense, and so we went with Clarence. But that is a competitive situation. Tariq could be the starter this weekend. We'll see how it plays out during the week.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Hi, Brian. Is it fulfilling as a coach to see guys like Avery Davis and Javon McKinley find success this season after waiting so long to make the kind of impacts they have throughout the season and this past Saturday against Clemson?
Absolutely. There's a lot of work that goes into those relationships and developing trust and, sticking with the program, but also, letting them know that, we still believe in you, even though it's taken some time. Your opportunity will show itself, and when it does, we believe that you're going to make plays. And so there's a great amount of satisfaction when you see those guys have the kind of success against top level talent. Avery Davis was running away from everybody the other night. Javon McKinley was taking the ball and making plays. He ran away from the corner that he was going against, who's one of the finer corners in the country. And we just didn't get him. We probably needed to give him the ball a couple more times. Great satisfaction to see the development. And that's what you want in your program. You want to see guys later in their careers continuing to see their development. And that, to me, people so many times talk about, hallmark moments. I look at it from a different perspective. To me, program development is when your older players are still developing, and when they get a chance to can play, championship level football. And so, yeah, it's satisfying.
We'll go next to Dylan Sin.
Hey, Brian. You we've talked so much since the game about kind of needing to move on, and there's so much. Boston College is a good football team, and there's so many important games coming up. But did you allow yourself to kind of soak in the moment of beating number one for even a little bit after that game, and what did that involve for you?
My normal routine is to go back home and be with my family, and we really don't talk much football. We kind of relax. I'll hear from my kids who are in college. They'll tell me that they need more money. I generally have to listen to my wife and what she had to do to entertain everybody in the box, and I get a long list of laundry items that I have to take care of on Sunday. So I promptly usually want to go to bed. So I didn't get much time to think about number one because they weren't thinking about beating number one. And then the next morning we come back in, so pretty glamorous life, huh? Everybody wants to be the head football coach at Notre Dame. That's what you get. But, you get a moment, and I think what you think about is more than anything else is the players and how they've sacrificed so much during this time of COVID, and for them to give up so much and not have a real senior day and not really have the kind of things that other seniors have had. It's been so odd, and the fans rushed the field, and our players were like, this is crazy, but they also knew it was the seniors' last home game, so there was just so many emotions, and I think most of it was centered around, our veteran players and all of our players that have worked so hard to get to that moment.
We'll go next to George Bashura.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon.
Congratulations on the win Saturday.
Thank you.
Coming up here, you guys become the road trippers again,
Mm-hmm.
and you play some more on the road. What's your mental prep to start the guys now and getting the fact that, they're going away from home and getting them thinking about, winning games on the road?
They've got a pretty good routine. I think I like our routine. We do all of our work here on Friday. We eat downtown at the city center, do our meetings, then get on a fairly short flight, usually under 2 hours, get to the hotel, get our snack, and go to bed. And now it's game day. So it's been pretty good. I mean, from that standpoint, 3:30 game, which is great for us. It really stays in our wheelhouse in terms of the routine. So our guys are well accustomed to it now that we've been on the road a few times. This will be really comfortable for our guys to go ahead and do it again.
We'll go next to Chris Heidel.
Hi, Chris Kelly. Congratulations on the big win on Saturday night.
Thank you.
I got a question for you. In the fourth quarter in the game, there was that call about the pass interference call that was against Clemson, and it was taken back. Can you explain what happened on that play?
I think whoever threw the flag was overruled by somebody else who felt like he had a better view of the play. It seemed to happen on a couple of occasions. So, look, we have a process. We send in clips that we feel like we would like the supervisor of officials to look at. They'll look at them. They'll send back the report from there, and it is what it is. But that's kind of what my perspective of the situation was.
We'll go next to Greg Couch.
Hello, this is Greg Couch at Outkick.com. I'd like to ask two things. First, after the 2012 title game, you talked about what championship teams look like. I'd like to know if you had some sort of moment in the days or weeks after that where you had to lay out a roadmap to getting there and what was involved, and whether this team looks like a championship team to you now. And secondly, considering how the game itself has changed, I wonder if a championship team looks different now than it did then.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably archive. My comments are probably archived from that game. I said that the physicality of Alabama was such that we needed to duplicate that in our program. Um, you know, and here we are, where I feel like our physicality was a separator in terms of the ability to control the line of scrimmage. We rushed for over 200 yards. We kept them to under 50 yards. So. Controlling the line of scrimmage was what my vision was in terms of what a championship football team looked like. And then those other pieces come together in different forms, but that physicality was certainly at the heart of it.
We'll go next to Omar Urena.
Hi, Coach. Going back to June, Dalen Hayes started a big movement with other teammates and, of course, your support. How special was his performance against Clemson, and how important is going to be his role on this team this week facing Boston College?
Yeah, he's an integral part of what we're doing as not only his leadership, which has continued to grow as a captain. Dalen was always vocal. He now is extremely, I think, pointed in when he talks now. Pointed in the sense that the guys are really listening to what he has to say because it's clear that he has their ear, and so you do that. When you're a man of your word, that you're trusted, and they see how he's performing as well. And look, your best players, by and large, gain a lot of credibility as well. So you're seeing all that happen with Dalen Hayes this year. So he'll be extremely important next week and the weeks to come.
And we'll wrap it up with the last question from Angelo DiCarlo in the chat. Do you have any update on Braden Lindsay?
Yes. Braden was running full speed ahead, straight line on Friday. We will begin change of direction today. We'll see how he responds. If he looks good today, we will put him in practice tomorrow. And then it will be how he handles portions of the practice as to whether he would be ready to play this week. If he's not, then obviously he'll have the bye week and he'll certainly be ready for North Carolina.
All right, and we will end it there. Thank you very much, Coach.